Will Smith practices selective outrage. Because everybody knows what the happened. Everybody that really knows I had nothing to do with that shit. I didn't have any entanglements.
The Oscar controversy of 2022 isn't anywhere near its end. And this time, Chris Rock is getting the last laugh. Netizens have been waiting for over a year to hear Chris's side of the story. And in his latest special on Netflix, he completely destroyed Will Smith. Chris Rock has finally spoken out about Will Smith in the best way possible with his comedy special, and the fans are here for it. The Netflix special came out on March 4th, titled Selective Outrage, and it tickled quite a lot of funny bones in the audience. This whole mess started last year at the 94th Academy Awards in 2022, when Will Smith decided to slap Chris Rock for allegedly making fun of Jada. But that's yesterday's news. What's interesting is the remarks of both the celebs afterwards.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
On one hand, Will Smith has isolated himself from the world and eventually apologized publicly, while Chris Rock decided not to address the issue at all, till now. So, he finally addressed the slap heard around the world in his typical manner, and we genuinely feel like the OG comedian Chris Rock was back in full form. The icing on the cake for Chris is the fact that he reportedly got back about $40 million from Netflix, and all he did was trash Will Smith in such an iconic way.
I'ma try to do a show tonight without offending nobody, okay? Because you never know who might get triggered.
This special became even more popular because it was the first time for Netflix to try out a live stream. And it went really great, so we can expect to see more of these types of specials in the future for sure. The show was completely live streamed, and there were literally no cuts or edits, airing in nearly 190 countries, which made Chris Rock's comeback all the more iconic. Chris Rock addressed the fact that the slap did hurt him, not just physically, but emotionally too, because he's been a fan of Will Smith since the beginning of his career, but he might be rethinking that now. He also talked about being aware that Will was already having issues in his domestic life, and he was probably going through a rough patch during that time, which might have triggered his violent response to the joke at the Oscars. He also repeated that iconic line that whoever says that words hurt has never been slapped in the face. It tells us that getting smacked by Will Smith wasn't exactly a party for Chris Rock, and it also shushes all the rumors of the slap being staged. People love the comeback from Chris Rock, and that's the best anyone could do in a response to the slap. And his place in comedy royalty has definitely peaked to new highs after streaming the Netflix special. Although, some people are still criticizing him for his remarks on Meghan Markle. Most of them are praising him for the epic performance. He said that some people still ask him if the slap hurt, and he recalls that he hears "summertime" ringing in his ears sometimes.
And people like, did it hurt? It still hurts. I got "summertime" ringing in my ears.
So yeah, Will Smith surely left a mark on Chris's memory. Chris wasn't completely relentless with Will, but instead, he seemed to find a balance of expressing some sympathy, all while roasting Will in the most comedic way possible. He added that the Oscar slap wasn't about his joke or because he said something wrong. It was because Will was practicing selective outrage. And the reason for that slap was Will's frustration with his personal life and the issues he's been encountering lately with Jada Smith.
Will Smith practices selective outrage. Everybody that really knows I had nothing to do with that shit. I didn't have any entanglements.
One of the most masterful parts of the bit was the way Chris managed to call Will a bitch, without directly calling him one, but by dropping a bunch of big names that called Will bitch, one after another after another.
The Charlemagne called him a bitch, and the Breakfast Club called him a bitch, and The View, and The Talk, and every rapper, and the Drink Champs called him a bitch. Everybody called him a bitch. They called his wife a predator. Everybody called him a bitch.
He also added that Jada truly hurt Smith, and that might be why the slap by Smith didn't hurt Chris Rock as much as Jada hurt Will. Chris was trying to troll Smith, but somehow he was also displaying a bit of understanding of what he did, because the comedian went on, saying that everyone has been cheated on at some point of their lives. But what if the same person who cheated on you announces it on national TV and literally goes on to take your interview on television? How big of an impact it would have on any one of us and our mental health. We gotta say, Chris wasn't completely wrong, because it surely was a trying time for Will, as he was going through quite a lot, while Jada continued to be her unbothered self.
Everybody in here have been cheated on. None of us have ever been interviewed by the person that cheated on us on television. It's like, hey, I was sucking somebody else's dick. How did that make you feel? She hurt him way more than he hurt me, okay? Okay?
And Chris Rock surely won millions of hearts by not slapping Will Smith back and taking the brutal slap with grace and dignity. If Chris would have slapped him back, he also would have been banned from the Oscars. Besides, he would not be starring in the first Netflix live stream that garnered him over $40 million.
A lot of people go, Chris, how come you didn't do nothing back? How come you didn't do nothing back that night? Because I got parents. That's why. Because I was raised. Okay? I got parents.
Chris Rock capitalized on the slap from Will Smith, while Will himself has been canceled on social media and is even banned from the Oscars for a long time. Chris surely played his cards right at the time by not commenting on the matter all this time until this show that completely changed the way we look at the slapping incident. Smith also didn't have such a bad bargain, as he got a whole comedy set dedicated to him on Netflix, and Chris Rock, all while destroying Smith, also humanized him by displaying an understanding of the hardships poor mental health can have on someone. True comedy genius. Jada is known to be very problematic, and it has even caused their marriage to almost fall apart. Will Smith even cried on national television because of Jada, and became a laughingstock for the whole world at one point. So, Chris Rock seems pretty accurate when he says that Will was only trying to project his angry emotions somewhere. So, did you watch Chris Rock's comedy special on Netflix? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, adios from our side.